Hey YouTube. I'm gonna start the video up, and I filmed it ahead of time, but I just wanted to say after reviewing it, I realize this video is really long. However, something to understand, if you are a person that's chronically obese, you are huge. It didn't take you 5 minutes to get here, so this video is not 5 minutes long. I try to give you as much information as I can. I might ramble a little bit, but it's all good information, so, bear with me. Make points as you go along. If you really don't want to watch it all, you can go to the points at the end, but keep in mind I explain things as I go, so it really is good to watch that. Anyway, let's get started. Hey YouTube, it's a new day, it's a new week, and I'm starting to get pretty boy hair. Volume. Yep, the pretty boy hair, gotta figure out how to style it first, so, new hat. So this week, as promised, we're going to talk about exercising. But before I get to that, let's check in on the scale. Alright, gonna get on the scale. Getting on the scale, moving around on the scale. It's 210.4, yeah, not so bad. Plus I've been gaining some muscle. I know you can't see right now, but sweet. Ryan, how did you gain said muscles? Well, I'm gonna talk about that in this video. So before I get started on explaining anything about exercise, I do want to reiterate in here that before you start anything, if you are a really large person, talk to your doctor first and explain what your plan is. Now, first off, before I do anything, I'm going to explain what I have done to get to where I am for my exercise and give points as I go. So first, when I first started, when I was 386 pounds, I could only walk for about 5 minutes at a time, and then I was in agony. I was having back problems, I had my memory problems, of course, which I still have, and I had the migraines, as you guys know. Now, at first, it was like incredibly hard, but when I first started, as you guys know, I basically improved my migraines just like a little bit. So I just kept walking day by day. So 5 minutes became 10 minutes, 10 minutes became 20, and 20 became 40. So, the point I'm getting to with this is you have to start small. Really small when it comes to exercise. You don't want to get overwhelmed. And as I've explained in past videos, you basically either start with diet at first or you start with exercise. I think it honestly is up to the individual which one to start with. But do one of them for about 2 or 3 weeks, get a little bit comfortable with that before you go ahead and add in the other one. You don't want to get overwhelmed. There's a lot of plans out there that's going to be contrary to what I'm saying, but I find myself as a person coming from a place where, I was extremely lazy, and I'm getting better with that. It was the best thing for me, was really to start off small. Moving on. When I could walk a bit, what I ended up doing is I would walk up to the gym. Now this was mostly uphill. In the snow. No. This was mostly uphill though. And I would walk up to the gym. Would not go in. Basically I just kept walking until I could reach the gym. And the gym was 40 to 50 minutes away from where I was living. So once I could do that and once I got comfortable, I started to actually go into the gym. Now the gym was a rec center. So, something I should point out when I say I started with walking, I did, but at that time when I was walking, I also tried aquasizing. So the reason I did aquasizing as well is it was really low impact on my joints. So, as I said, once I got comfortable with going into the gym, I was doing the aquasizing. That was really good. And then once I got comfortable with that, I also started to go into the gym itself. Now, I only went in for a short amount of time at first, just like 30 minutes or so. And I started off actually with weights because I was getting my cardio in ahead of time before actually getting there. Now, I started on machines. The reason I started on machines is when you do free weights, there is a chance of more injury. When you do machines, there's less chance of injury. But when you do machines, you don't develop what's called functional muscle. So a muscle that's going to help you on a daily basis. Well, you can, it depends on the machine, but you're less likely. When you do free weights, you basically are going to develop more functional muscle. Now, like I said, took time to build up to this, and you also want to understand when you're basically trying to lose weight, you have to prioritize what you want to do first. If you want to build muscle, then you weightlift first. If you want to lose weight, you do cardio first. Now, I do recommend, once you've gotten up to a point, actually doing both cardio and weightlifting. The reason being is when you weightlift, you build muscle. Muscle increases your metabolism. So this is going to make it easier to break down the food you're intaking and not gain weight. Unless, of course, you're eating terribly. Don't eat terribly. So when I was weightlifting, I started off really small. Only did about 30 minutes. And I still do this to this day. So I have my Mondays are my ab days. That's what I started with. That's what I'm still doing. My Wednesdays are my arm days. And my Fridays were my leg days. One thing I should explain, because I do yoga now, I actually take my leg days and I spread them throughout the week. Now, normally you would say, oh, well, you're losing the benefit because since you're doing the legs just a little bit at a time, you're not getting as much out of it since you're not actually doing it all like in one day, really getting that burn going. Well, you should also know when you do all that cardio and you're on your feet for so long, you definitely do get the burn. And one thing I have heard is if you work out the muscle too much, you can actually start burning muscle, which isn't a good thing. I haven't done a lot of research into that, so I don't honestly know the full point, so don't quote me on that. Once I got comfortable with the 30 minutes, I started to increase it, and I started to do more and more and more. Now, when I left the Newton gym, I actually moved to Richmond, so my exercise changed. So, as I mentioned, I did the 3 weight days and the cardio on then. But what I was also doing is on Tuesday and Thursday, once I got to Richmond, I was going for a 40-minute walk, and then I would swim after. Now this is, once again, really great because it was very low impact. Now keep in mind, I wasn't doing aquasizing at this point. I was actually doing swimming because the pool here doesn't really have aquasizing. So when I was swimming, literally I would just play in the water. Now you can go ahead and do laps, and that's going to burn more. But you also have to, you have to kind of have a good time as well. You don't want to get to a point where you hate everything you do. It makes it a lot harder with your exercise. So on top of that, when I was at the pool, I would also, relieve some muscle tension and go in the hot tub. Sounds dirty, relieving muscle tension. Anyway, so my workout eventually evolved from there as well. I realized that, going to swim in the pool was great, and it was great for the weight I was at when I was doing it. I wasn't getting as much of a benefit out of it. So instead of walking around outside on the Tuesday and the Thursday, I started to actually walk on the treadmill. Now, one other thing I was doing is the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, when I moved around the Olympic Oval, I was actually walking outside. I was walking a really nice path around the river. However, once again, there's a big difference from being on a treadmill and burning calories versus just going for a walk, because you can set the incline on treadmill. So after I got down to, say probably around 270-ish, I actually started to do it all in the facility. Now a lot of people would say, oh, this is boring, why would you do something like that? Well, you may find it a little bit less entertaining, but my gym is fantastic. It has all electronic machines, you can watch TV or play games while you're doing this stuff. And yeah, I keep myself entertained, but it's more than that. Even if they didn't have that, I know I'm getting more out of it by doing this in the same amount of time as I would by walking outside. So from there I started to do more with the weights. Like basically that half an hour evolved into about an hour when I was, whenever I was doing the weights. And the reason being is I changed what I was doing. So originally I was doing something like 3 sets, so 1 warm-up set and then 2 sets of like heavier weights. Now that evolved into doing 1 warm-up set of half I could do up to the max of 30 in 3 sets. Now what I mean is I would do 15 of my warm-up set. This also helps you to prevent from hurting your muscle. Then I would do 10 of what I could do for 3 sets and actually be fatigued at the end. So I would do, let's say for example, if I'm doing a curl, I would do like 25, and then I would do 25 and 25. Now, that has evolved once again. What I do, what I was doing, was I would do 15 of the warm-up, then 10 to the max of what I could do, up to, like I said, with those 3 sets. Now, then what I ended up doing is I would push it beyond, so I couldn't get up to the 10th. It would be really like difficult, so you can burn more muscle. And then I would go back and do the 10 from what I did before. Now once again, that evolved. So I did all those things, but at the very end, immediately after that last set, because I was losing the burn at this point, I would do 15 of what I did to warm up again. That brought the burn back. Like, really brought the burn back. Because if it doesn't burn, or you don't fatigue it to the point where it's just not going, you're not actually building muscle. Now, as of recently, I've evolved again. That was literally just last week, and this is a new thing I'm doing. I'm doing what's called supersetting. So I'll be at 2 machines. I do my sets on one, I go right over to the other. So 1 set, 1 set, 1 set, 1 set. And basically I just don't take a break between them. Now some people will say that when you're supersetting you want to take a break between those 2 ones you just do. I really actually do recommend that for most people, but I've been doing this for so long that I can do that without fatiguing or hurting myself. So that's currently where I am at with the weights. Now, moving on to the cardio, I originally was doing the cardio first, so I do 40 minutes on the treadmill, and I would do 20 minutes on the bike. And this was on all 5 days. But the reason I was doing originally was the cardio days, like the Tuesday and Thursday, I wanted to take it easier on myself and give myself a break, right? Now, I eventually, got to the point where, I was plateauing a little bit, so I upped the ante. On the cardio days, I would do 40 minutes on the treadmill and 30 minutes on the bike. Now, since then, that's evolved. Now, what I do is 40 minutes on the treadmill, 30 minutes on the bike with interval training. So with interval training, what that means is, let's say you're going for 5 minutes slow, but for 30 seconds you go really, 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 really hard. So I do that, and then it evolved further. I did that, but I also added on 5 minutes on that row machine, and then 5 minutes on the arm machine. And that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Now on Fridays, as I said, that was originally my leg day, but I added in also, at one point I added in going on the stair machine. So I've added that into Thursday. So with the stair machine I started at 5 minutes, 5 became 10, 10 became 15, and now I'm doing 20 minutes. And I do that with interval training. So I do like 54 steps, and then I bump it up to 84 for like 1 minute. And basically in 22 minutes I can climb something like 84 flights of stairs. And just so you know, when you're doing that stair climber, oh, you are sweating so bad. Now, when I got to a certain point with upping all this, something I didn't know is when your metabolism reaches a certain point, like when you actually start reversing things, you actually start burning more calories. So once again, I didn't know, but I was actually under-eating a bit. Like, I was eating what I was all the way through and stuff. I actually haven't lowered my calories as most people would. because I need it, right, to burn the stuff. But what I found is I actually started to crash during my workouts. And then I talked to one of the people at the gym, and they said, oh, well, you actually, as you start weighing less, you have to start eating more during your workouts. Otherwise, you're going to crash. You need that extra energy. So because I learned that, I actually went from just eating my 300-calorie breakfast to adding in like an energy bar before going, so like a Cliff Bar. And what I also ended up doing is that 300-calorie breakfast, and I have to do this, has to essentially be all fruit, some almond milk, and some whey protein. I really need that energy to get through. So carbs, right in the morning, I go nuts with carbs. And then right after any weightlifting you do, you want to have whey protein immediately. Otherwise, you actually lose the benefit of the muscle you've built. Or let's say you'll only get like 60%, but if you had that whey protein, you'd get all the full benefits out of it. Because you can actually lose muscle if you're not putting protein into your body. So whey protein specifically. See, whey protein can actually be broken down in the body way quicker. Whey. There's like things like bovine protein that are actually like, let's say, meal supplements. So, that's what I do, and that's where I am. Getting to the point where I'm actually touching on points, so moving on from what I'm doing. If you don't start small, you're going to overwhelm yourself, and you are going to hate exercising. If you have a set day, like let's say you decide, alright, I'm going to do exercise on Monday and Thursday, don't make excuses. If you're sick, that's okay. And just so you know, us men, we're babies, okay? Women will go ahead and do something even if their leg's falling off. This is the difference between men and women. We get a little cough, I'm dying. Women will just go do it. So for women, I don't really know if I have to say this to you, but for men, if you get the sniffles, don't go to the gym, princess. Now, like I said though, if you are really sick, then don't beat yourself up. But you gotta pick it up when you get better. Something a lot of people don't understand, they end up quitting, and you know you're gonna have to come back to it again. But when you end up quitting, every drop of sweat that you've had to shed, every ounce of pain that you've had to go through, every point where you're just like, oh, I can't do this, but you push on, you're going to have to do that all again if you stop. So, just do it. This is another point. This is something that took me forever to learn how to do, is just doing something. I go to the gym a lot. And something, don't compare yourself to me. I have the extra time. I'm also like sick. I'm in a lot of pain. I have to do this. I don't really have a choice. You don't necessarily want to go to the extreme of where I'm at. It can hurt you. And if you do, you gotta build up. If you want to save yourself time, but you also want to weightlift, there's something called complex exercises. Now, I don't have a lot of those myself worked into my plan quite yet. However, I keep evolving over time. I would research complex exercise and take a look at what you'd like to do and actually watch the form. These can be more dangerous than just free weight. Now, complex exercise actually basically works a whole bunch of muscles at once. So you get more of a benefit out of less, like, let's say, exertion. But complex exercises hurt. They hurt, you sweat. They are a lot harder than just weightlifting. And that's good, but I would really recommend working up to that. Big, huge thing, and something I didn't mention as I was going on. Stretch before and stretch after. Now, that's something I didn't work until later. However, if you don't do this, you can pull something, you can hurt something, and you're going to take yourself out, and you're not going to want to go to the gym because you got ouchies. So stretch before and after. Big thing there. There's a whole world of exercise out there. Do you guys know what they do in Japan for exercise? Do you guys know what they do in Ireland for exercise? How about Africa? How about India? There's all kinds of options. If you're the kind of person that's like, I don't want to go on a treadmill, I'm not going to go to the gym because of that, start researching options. These are things people never think of. They never think, hey, you know, there's a whole different world of exercise out there. There's things that I've never thought of because I didn't grow up in this place. Take a look. Find out what you like. Do some Tai Chi. Take up martial arts. Take up rock climbing. Take up high-intensity thumb wrestling. Yeah, maybe not that one, but still, you get it. Don't get discouraged if it takes a long time to build muscle. Because it takes a long time to build muscle. It isn't going to happen overnight, and it's probably going to take you a good long while before you see huge results. Now, you will see results, though. I am liking some of the things I can do. I can do the pec dance. I'm not going to show you guys, because it's not as impressive when you have kind of some move action going on, but it still is pretty cool. And I got some arm muscles. And I know you can't see it, but my legs are like freaking tree trunks. I thought they were before, but no, it's nuts. Inverted, I can leg press 420 pounds. Just properly sitting and having the leg press on the same angle I am. I can go ahead and leg press 500 pounds, or a little bit more. So yeah, I got some beefy legs going on, ladies. If I was a chick, I'd be a leggy blonde. Big thing. When you go to the gym, don't get discouraged. Generally, most people are going to be pretty kind, but you might get some gawkers. But who the heck cares? You're not at the gym because you want to look pretty for everyone there. It's because you want to change your life. You want to get better. When I was really large, I would go ahead and go for my walks and people would scream at me nasty things. It only happened a couple times, but it's happened quite a few times throughout my life. I don't get discouraged though, I just keep going. If you go ahead and get mad or get upset after that, you're letting a person basically anger you and they take your power away. Just let things go. Gustava. This is a skill I'm still learning. It can be pretty difficult at times, but you just keep going. If you're at the gym and you don't know how to do an exercise, but you want to learn, most gyms you can actually ask the trainers there. They won't charge you. Just say, hey, I'm worried about hurting myself. Can you show me how to do this? I've never had a personal trainer say no or be like, well, I'm sorry, you gotta get an appointment with me. Of course they're not going to show you everything because there's legal issues there. If you get injured and stuff, they can be held responsible, which is not cool. If you hurt yourself a little bit or you get a chipped nail, don't take it out on the personal trainer. They're just trying to help you. Now, if you have the money to do so, having a personal trainer is a good idea. I have done this as cheaply as possible to show that this can be done. However, there are some dangers. You basically don't have someone, critiquing every little thing you do. Because with weightlifting, if you do it even a fraction of the way off, you can hurt yourself. So I really recommend watching videos on these things you want to do, watching people's forms, Don't overextend your back, don't hurt yourself, really watch out for these things. Another thing I'd like to say is evolve in your workouts. Don't just become complacent. Keep bumping it up. I did the grouse grind when I was 290 or 300 pounds, not exactly sure. I changed my workouts as I've described all the way along. And you know what I'm doing this weekend? I'm going to do a 10K sun run. Now it's going to be a sun walk for me, as I've mentioned, but I've been practicing. Last Thursday I did a 9.5K walk. The Thursday before I did a 9.5K walk. And I'm going to keep my butt moving. I've also been asked by a friend to do another 10K, which will be in May. It's a run for water. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And who knows what the heck else I'm going to do. I was at the park yesterday. You know what I did? Climbed trees. I ran. I had fun. I jumped off stuff. It's one of my favorite things about where I am at with my weight loss is just being able to jump. I know it sounds silly, but it's fun. I literally am like a little kid. I'm just out there. I'm like, nah, run, 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 hop over this, jump on this. Look at me, Val. Ah. Anyway, yeah, I'm like a big kid. So, as I mentioned earlier in the video, this video is really long, so I'm kind of cutting it a little bit short here. There was lots more things that I wanted to say. There's a lot more things I've learned. So I'm going to stop that here, but before I do, let's look at the points. Ryan, that's a lot of points. But yeah, all good points. I'm really proud of myself because I went from only being able to walk 5 minutes at a time to walking a 10K. I've been practicing, and I know I can do it. So, anyway, I'll get some video of that, and just so you guys know, after that video, everything's going to be back to normal, so I'm going to start trying to do one of these a week. Anyway, YouTube, have yourself a fantastic day, a great week, a good evening, and to all, a good night. God bless us. Everyone. And every other body. I had to change that a little bit, because I don't want to get in trouble for copyright. See ya!
Awesome! Awesome! That's awesome! That's awesome! Awesome! Awesome. So I finally figured out what the hell this is called again. Broccoli.